If you had three things to say, you met the Prime Minister already, but you had three things to tell the Indian government right now on how to get on track now with another COVID potential crisis booming. Luckily, our cases are down right now, but who knows, what would they be?
Well, I think first, which again is true for all countries, is to make sure that you are doing your vaccinations on a war footing. Mm-hmm. You know, India is at about, in terms of the share of the total population, it's about 37% of the population that's fully vaccinated. Of course, that number in terms of first dose is much higher, closer to 60%. But what we see around the world is that when vaccine cases come down, pressure comes off, people, don't think about getting vaccinated. So getting over vaccine hesitancy and just on a war footing, pushing through much higher rates of vaccination, I think is essential. It's not going to solve you're still going to get infections. You're seeing that in the UK even with higher levels of vaccination rates. But everything points to the fact that even with Omicron, if you are vaccinated, you get some protection against severe disease and death. And that's what we should be targeting. So I think that's one big area. The second area is recovery. Like we said, there has been recovery. We've seen it after Delta. There's been a rebound after the reopening. But it's not done. It's not complete. There's still a big gap between where India would have been in the absence of the pandemic and where it is. So there is still need to keep, in the near term, fiscal and monetary policy accommodative. But at the same time, you communicate how you are going to consolidate over the medium term. So kind of very clearly, how would you bring the fiscal house in order over the medium term? Similarly, for monetary policy side, keeping a very close eye on inflation. I guess we talk so much of the health crisis, infection and inflation get mixed up now. So, and then the last thing is there are lots of long-standing issues that have to continue to be addressed, making sure there's sufficient spending on health, on education. India's done very well in terms of investment in physical infrastructure and digital infrastructure, but there is much more that's needed. And of course on climate change. Big announcements have been made. But that would require very ambitious policies to attain those targets.